Wow.
Okay, so we're going to get back talking to Jenny from Get Digging about allotments and things like that. We've covered lots of things while the tracks were going. So let's go back to the beginning. Connecting people with seasons and seasonal food. What's your motivation for that, and how do you do it?
Yeah, the motivation for that is that there's lots of motivations, but if I go through a few simple ones, we don't eat in season anymore. We don't really understand what that means, to be honest. Even the chefs, some of the chefs don't understand what seasonality means anymore, because we can have a tomato imported from Israel in the middle of winter. So seasonality is really about connecting ourselves to our environment again, and actually watching the seasons and the weather and the sun and the grass and what's growing, and being in rhythm with that is really important, because with the gadgets, I've said it before, I'm afraid, but it does remove us from what's actually going on. We don't look at the sky anymore. We don't notice things anymore. And bringing us back into seasons means that we actually start to appreciate what's going on out there. But more than that, I think when we eat locally and we eat in season, we're actually stronger. It boosts our immune system because we're eating what grows in our local environment. There's a guy I follow a bit on YouTube. His name will come to me in a moment. It's slipped my mind right now, but I've read his book. And he talks about eating local, and he talks about the dangers of blue light. So looking at gadgets all the time, and blue light interrupts our circadian rhythms. It gets us out of sync with the environment, and we lose our natural rhythm with the environment. And then, of course, we become ill, and we become, mentally unwell, because we're not really hooking into what's natural anymore. We're just, irradiating blue light the whole time. And food has its own vibration. Local food has its vibration. You are eating the vibration of your local environment when you eat locally. And we've lost that. Supermarkets just bring it in from all over. So aside from the health aspect, there's also the Airmiles aspect. If we're getting tomatoes in the middle of winter from Israel, they're coming in at a huge cost. A lot of them are subsidised, but they're coming in at huge cost, not only financial cost, but environmental cost. We're shipping food around the planet, just so that we can eat luxury stuff in the middle of winter. People have forgotten how to cook with the seasons. They don't know what to do with I don't know, they just don't know what to do with root vegetables, for example. Yeah. It's easier to just go and buy a freezer meal. Yeah. People don't know what to do.
I think also people buy a lot and then throw away a lot. Yeah. And when you're throwing away a lot of veg, which might not be perfect because you haven't used it, because you only shop, every couple of weeks or something, and tomatoes gone a bit soft. Tomatoes grown somewhere else, or the mange tout has come from Kenya or something like that, and it goes a bit brown at the end, so people throw the whole thing away. And the waste is just phenomenal when you consider what's gone into producing, manufacturing, transporting and selling that one bag of mange tout. Yeah. And I think, if I did an exercise some time ago about what it costs when people throw away food, and everybody is throwing away a lot of money every week by chucking out food which is not perfect, possibly because they don't know how to make slightly off wonky veg into veg soup or something like that. But it is interesting. You were speaking off air a moment ago also about the macrobiotics of local food and how it gives you immunity from certain bugs and sniffles and viruses and things like that are going around. So, John, you were saying particularly with local honey.
I think so. Yes. Yeah. Yes. I think consuming honey supposedly gives you a lot of immunity. Yeah.
I come back to honey because I would love to have hives, and I have spoken to the beehives, that is, to the Essex.
I don't like to say anything.
Bee Association. Just step in quickly there. About setting up the beehives, but sadly I'm allergic to bees, and I was assured that if you have beehives, you are certainly going to get stung. So. I'm still deciding whether I take the pain, but I would love to have local honey.
I do have a lady who gives me, half a dozen or 10 jars every now and again and says, would you mind putting them through the group? And I have sold 8 of her recent 10. I've got 2 left. So.
I'll take one. I'll take one, definitely. We'll talk more about kind of how you use the veg produce that you grow and distribute it. But you also mentioned that you have been talking to Dunmow Town Council about planters, local planters. What have you been doing there?
Yes. I took a leaf out of an organisation called, they're up in Todmorden. Damn it, I can't remember the name of them. Anyway, I took a leaf out of their book because they started about 9 or 10 years ago doing what's called guerrilla gardening, which is just planting up veg in open spaces, town spaces, and getting local people just to go onto the town green or whatever and just plant up vegetables.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I'd love to do that in Dunmow, but I think I'd probably get a slap round the wrist. So I went to the town council and said, can we have permission to do that? And they said, no, but if you want to plant up the bottom tier of the planters, then we'll give it a go and see how it goes. So back at the end of May, beginning of June, we planted up 2 planters outside the co-op on the town square, and the other one outside the community hub. And we planted them up with a range of different herbs and vegetables in the bottom layer, and they are absolutely wild. They've gone wild now. I put some pictures up on Facebook on several groups, and I think we had something like 85 people either like or comment, saying what a wonderful idea it was.
Fantastic.
Isn't it great that Dunmow's got this kind of thing?
Yeah.
I've had people phone me up and say, that's wonderful, thank you for doing that. So it's been a real, it's been a real sort of journey, really exciting to see people respond to it. I'd love people to come forward who would perhaps keep an eye on them for me when I can't be around, and just keep me updated. What's going on? What do they look like? Do I need to thin them out a bit, or add more stuff? Because they are for people to take, and this is another learning curve. I said to the council, and I've said to various people, that people think they're stealing when they take from public spaces, or they think, I don't want to destroy the display. But we want them to. Yeah,
it's a resource for them to use.
It's a resource
really.
for them. So, for example, I came out of the co-op the other day and I really needed some mint and parsley. And I've got loads of mint, but I've got no parsley at home. So I just nipped over to the planter and picked a bit of parsley. It was my own, I put it there, so I thought I would take it. But people can do that. If they need some mint, just a couple of sprigs of mint or some parsley, or they want to take something that's growing there's tomatoes and everything.
We brought in a beautiful, fresh, lovely, fresh green new mint plant this evening, and it's here. And it does smell fantastic, even if you're not, putting it immediately into a drink or something like that. Just the smell of fresh mint is really wonderful.
It is amazing. And the other thing people don't realise is that you can make your own herbal teas with mint. I mean, I do this all the time. I take a sprig of thyme, some lemon balm, mint leaves, what else? Parsley. You can make parsley tea.
What I'm interested in is, why do you think people don't do this anyway? It's not difficult to do. Do you think they haven't got the time, or they would rather get it from or it's a status thing? Why don't people do more of that kind of thing?
I think we've been trained not to. I think over the years, it's taken a number of generations, but we've been trained not to look to nature. We've been trained to get them out of a packet. The media sells us all of the time, you don't want to waste your time and effort doing that sort of stuff. Just buy it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So people are infected with this idea. I just have to go to the shop and I can get everything I want. I don't need to buy. I don't need to grow it. That's hard work.
Yeah. So it is about selling whatever it is, with usually quite a short shelf life. Yeah. So if you don't use it immediately, you chuck it away.
Yeah.
And then you go back and buy some more.
Yeah.
Which keeps the tills ringing, really.
Yeah.
Instead of having a plant there that you just take what you need from,
and
use
then,
it.
of course, the charm of what you've grown. There's no charm left. It's just a commodity. Whereas when you grow your own food, you really treasure it, you value it, you savour it, you make sure you enjoy it, you share it, you offer it to friends.
It is true, actually. If you've ever struggled, as I have, to grow just a few potatoes or a few tomatoes, and the misshapen, miscoloured, spotty thing that comes off, but you take it off and you're so proud to cut it up into 4 tiny pieces and put it in the salad because it came from your pot, and it's your 1 or 2 tomatoes that you've got off. And it's probably a tomato that you'd pass by in the supermarket, but because you grew it, it's suddenly the most treasured thing. Same with potatoes. I mean, you think, my goodness, some of the potatoes
I've seen. You know its history, don't you? You know where it's been.
Yes, yeah, the food
you've
grown.
seen it grow up.
Yes,
You've probably named it.
Tommy the tomato.
I should do that now.
Dear. Right, well, we'll come back and talk some more about seasonal things and about your market stall at Great Garnet's farm every couple of weeks?
Month.
Every month.
Every month,
okay.
Yeah.